Say yes. Got it. Okay. Welcome, everybody. December 5th, last month of 2023. 16,000 people joined Plexus over Cyber Week. Good chance you're one of them if you're on this call, because the first Tuesday of every month is our new ambassador night. And this is the chance we try to just touch base with everybody who's getting started. And our goal with these calls is for you to realize that whatever you're coming up against is common to all of us. You're not just weird. You're not just, hearing crickets or feeling freaked out about posting or how to start these conversations or what do I do when people go silent. All of the things, all the obstacles that you are facing as you get going, sharing Plexus are common to all of us. All the way up to diamond and double diamond, these things happen to all of us. And so, one, it's very helpful to realize I'm not alone. And two, we have overcome those obstacles and we can help you do the same. So that's the goal of this call tonight. And I just urge you and encourage you to lay it out there, unmute, share, chatter in the chat over there, and just get the most out of this call. And invite your team. Even if you just have one VIP customer, invite people to these calls, because the fire really ignites and grows as we collect and gather and get together. Okay. So we are going to unmute and live coach a few people tonight, and we'll get right to it just so that we can respect everyone's time. But just real quick, in case you're not aware, I was going to read what's up for grabs this month for sharing Plexus. First of all, we just launched a new combo. It's our triplex with a balance. It's like this viral combo that helps really address blood sugar and weight loss. And it's going crazy. So we just launched that combo. We sold crazy amounts of it in Cyber Week, and we're sticking with that. So for those who ordered the triplex balance combo, you are actually going to get your balance. Those people, sorry, you've all already joined. The people that you refer, they're going to get that bottle of balance for free. There's nothing they have to do special. They just have to order the triplex balance combo, and they will not be charged for the balance. And since we sold the mess out of some balance over Cyber Week and we are out of stock, they're going to get a free bottle of our sleep gummies while they wait for the balance to pass through quality control and get back in stock. So free bottle of balance and a free bottle of sleep. There, Megan's got it. So that's like $80 in free supplements this month. Plus, we are sweetening the deal. We've got the enrollment fee is $1 instead of $9.99. And we all have the Give 10 code that we can use to give a friend $10 off. All caps, Give 10. So that makes it a no-brainer to grab the people that you love most and help them get their blood sugar and their gut on a good track over the holidays. Quick little story time. 9 years ago is my Plexiversary, and I remember being floored that this was the first holiday season I had navigated, not feeling like a balloon inflated with farts. I thought that was just how the holidays felt. And I could not believe that it doesn't have to be that way. So it doesn't have to be that way. Don't keep that secret to yourself. But here is what's up for grabs in your bonuses. Okay, so if you refer 3 people, that gets you to the rank of silver, Fast Start Silver, and you earn about $410 when all is said and done, because we're doing a fun double rank up bonus month. If you refer 6, you'll earn in total about $525. If you refer 9, you have hit the next rank of Senior Silver, and that earns you $1,090. That's actually quite a bit higher than it normally is in a non-December month. So it's really perfect for Christmas cash, just for referring 9 friends, helping them get healthy with you. Okay, if you refer 12, that's actually going to total about $1,200. And if you refer 17, that will get you to the 3rd rank, Silver, Senior Silver, and Fast Start Gold. And that gets you all the way up to $2,140. Plus, we're at the last month of our Punta Cana Leaders Retreat contest. We're all going to Punta Cana for Leaders Retreat in February. And most of the time, people who Fast Start Gold have so many contest credits between all those new enrollments and all those rank up credits that they end up earning Punta Cana in 1 month. And so it is completely still on the table for those of you shooting to refer your first 17 friends and hit Fast Start Gold this month, for you to earn over $2,000 Christmas cash and a trip to Punta Cana, all inclusive, food, all that with a guest. So all you have to do is get yourself there. Yes, thank you. This contest is designed to help new peeps earn it. Why? Because getting you to an event like Leaders Retreat helps you see the vision. You see the heart and integrity of the company. You get to meet the CEO, the founders. You see how Plexus goes so over the top and just treats their people so well. And you meet other leaders who have fought through the same things you're fighting through and gotten to the top. So we want to help our new people get there. Okay, so is Hannah on?
Hannah, I don't see her, but there's a few people I'm not sure who their title on their Zoom. So Hannah Clark, if you're on, you can pop your video on and unmute. In the meantime, my sweet friend from church, Margaret Smith, who lives in my town, said she would be a willing candidate, as well as Allie. And Allie actually is right in the midst of hosting an online event. So I'm going to let
Allie.
I'm going to let Margaret unmute first. And then if we have time for Allie to unmute and ask a quick question or whatever, we might have time. So
awesome. Oh, and thank you for mentioning Allie's event, because that reminded me of two other things I wanted to plug real quick. Megan is leading a chat thread, a Facebook Messenger chat thread, to help people with the specifics of what you can be doing in the next few days to launch to that holiday cash. So if you would like to be in that, sound off in the chat. We can get you added to that. She is it's hopping. It's been really, really encouraging. And then there's also a series going on in our team pages right now, just called Diamonds in December. There's a daily video. They are short and they just give really tangible tips, training, and tools. And we'll have a new one every day in December. So I challenge you, just figure out when in your day you can carve the time out to watch that video and take action on it. Don't be someone who just consumes information and then like stews on it. Be someone who implements quickly. Because if you can implement something, make a little mistake, and course correct a few times, you can actually get so much further than procrastinating and waiting to get it perfect before you get into action. So Diamonds in December, yes, hop into that. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to get that out there too. Margaret, is that who you said? Okay, Margaret, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. So my question is basically, I wasn't super active on social media before starting to share about Plexus. Okay. So, and just not really in contact a whole lot with the friends that I had there. Most of my friends were from California when I was in college, and then I moved to Illinois and just kind of lost touch with a lot of people. How do I go about like reaching those people? Because I'm struggling a little bit, just like getting going, I think.
You're breaking up a little bit. I can hear you pretty well, but hopefully we won't lose you. A couple of questions. Have you, when did you start? Like this week, sharing Plexus?
I started sharing about a couple weeks ago.
Okay. So up until that,
it hasn't been a super, and I started the product since September.
Oh, okay. So you've had a few months, had some results, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. So I want to remember something to tell you later.
Okay.
Have you done a simple little kind of daily task of trying to add some new friends, since you said you kind of have a limited friend base just from California?
Yeah. So I've been going in and adding, like, Megan sent me a little checklist of like stuff to be doing every day. And, adding a couple of friends every day is one of those. So I have been doing that.
Okay. Awesome.
And I've been doing just like personal messages and things like that too.
Good. There's a list that Plexus has put out called the Leads You Didn't Know You Have list. And I actually, maybe I'm partial because it's from when I joined, but when I joined, my little packet that came with my welcome pack had something called the memory jogger, which I'm happy to send you. And it helps you think of names that you haven't thought of, people that you can be adding intentionally. So I will send that, and maybe I'll send it in the newbie chat this month, the memory jogger list. But good job on that. Just kind of making a point to add a couple of new friends every day. Do you have a list going of people that you actually want to share Plexus with?
I do. There's a few that I reached out to initially that were like the first in my head, that I know are struggling with health issues, that I know are struggling financially, even just to start sharing about the business. So I have shared with them. I've gotten mixed responses.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how did it go? Mixed responses.
Yeah.
Do you feel confident about the reach outs, or do you feel timid, or what's your feeling about the reach outs that you've done?
There's been a few that I'm like, okay, I just need to go out there and be bold. But there have definitely been a few where I'm kind of just like, and I'm a very introverted person. So the whole social media thing has not really been my forte. I know it takes practice and it takes work, but
right. But it's putting yourself out there some
right.
way. Yeah. And a lot of interaction. The good news for you is an introvert can change her stripes. I'm an introvert too, and I still am. Like, I still need my alone time to recharge, but there are so many things that I have done to grow in Plexus that I used to think I would never do that. Like, I used to think I would never want to host a party in person or record a live video or lead a training like this for my team or send someone a voice message. And I do them now all the time, and I'm very comfortable with them. So it's a good thing to keep in mind that even though you're an introvert, that doesn't have to define what you're capable of. And it doesn't have to define the skills that you can learn and that you can get comfortable with. So, you said
I have been working on getting more comfortable with the voice messages. I'm working up the courage to do a live. But we're getting there slowly.
Okay, good. I'm glad you mentioned that. So working at or doing the voice messages, that's really good. The types of reach outs, the response rate, I think, can be way, way more if you are voicing. And if you're conversational, casual and conversational, if you're sharing why you thought of them, why you think this would bless them, what you see in them, and just really, really making it about them, about how you think that this could bless them. And finding out a little bit about what's going on in their life to see what are some of their pain points. So does everyone on this call, and do you have the little graphic with the Candida yeast symptoms?
Yes.
Perfect. So the best way I have found to get conversation going is to ask, like, what do you struggle with on this list? Do you struggle with multiple on this list? Like, how often? Like every day, every week? And just get into the mode of asking a lot of questions, because the best thing we can do is just try to help position Plexus as something that can solve a problem for them. So way to go on that, way to go on your voice messages. And you said mixed responses. So have there been any responses that you need help figuring out what to do with those?
A couple that I've done that I have had, I've put in three-way messages with Megan.
Okay.
And then so far, not really had a whole lot of just questions. My sister is getting married in March, and she kind of just expressed some interest in losing weight for her wedding. And she's very health conscious too. She's in school she's studying nutrition. And so I was sharing with her about that, and she expressed interest and then kind of just dropped off the map a little bit. So I don't know if it was something I said. I sent her a voice message and I asked her, hey, is there anything that's holding you up? Like,
very
what's going
good.
on?
And hopefully everyone else on here can learn a bit from that, especially with a familiar person like a sister. Be a human and go back and say, hey, did I freak you out? Or say, hey, like, was it something I said? Yeah, totally call that and just bring back the normal human interaction that you would have with someone like that. And just, it helps to kind of find out. I mean, I'm thinking, just seeing some vision for your sister, even if right now you're needing to just kind of reestablish the connection and maybe figure out what spooked her. But I'm seeing a good vision for like her being able to do a reset, leading up to her wedding, or maybe monthly reset leading up to her wedding. And she probably has people in her bridal party too who are feeling similarly. So much is going to help if you are posting consistently. And I was going to loop us back there because you said you've been quiet on social media and it's been something you haven't done a lot of. And so it's going to feel a little weird, but your consistent little dripping of your experience, other people's experience, and what value these products add, that's going to be building their belief in the background. And so I'm thinking specifically, since she is educated with nutrition, you can be talking about like the gut and all the things that are related to the gut. And you can be talking about the reset and how that works. You don't have to get like too far down into the science, but you can just kind of talk about how it works. And you can show photos of other people who've been doing it every month. And I think that that will speak volumes to her and hopefully to the people in her bridal party too. Posting. So you've been kind of quiet on social media. The biggest thing with posting that I'm learning is to be thinking, how can I add value out there? Because if you've kind of been you've been kind of just consuming, scrolling, watching, reading, looking, it's time to kind of ask yourself, okay, what catches my eye when I'm on social media? What are the kinds of things that really make me stop, really make me watch or rewatch, kind of people you follow, and just pay attention to like, what is it about that stopped my scroll? And how can I start to reposition and tweak the way I'm posting to add that value? Usually adding value is entertainment value, educational value, or just like inspiration of some sort. So I would do that. I would take a little time to write down like special areas of interest for you that are either part of your life or that you really enjoy consuming on social media, and start to think, how can I put more of that out there? And you want to be weaving Plexus in some, but you also want to have good content going out there that's not Plexus related, because you're kind of and it's really kind of great. Like you don't have a social media reputation that you're trying to undo. You just get to create it out there. So how often are you posting in the last couple of weeks?
The last couple of weeks, I've been trying to do something every day, whether it's like personal life or whether it's Plexus. But like just before that, I would go like 2 or 3 months without posting anything.
Yes. So that's a big increase.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just a little pivot though, when it comes to personal life, and I'm still learning this, social media is always changing. Like what I would have done probably in the beginning is like post an update. Look at my cute kids. We're going Christmas shopping today. And lately I've been realizing, I need to post what did I post this week? How to cultivate thankful hearts in your children this Christmas, and showing how they've saved up all their own money to buy little presents for each other. And so I'm just tweaking my posts a little bit, where it's still a personal update. It's still about my family, but it's thinking, how can I add value to my audience? Or how can I solve a problem that they're sitting there thinking about? Something like that.
Okay.
So think about that with your personal posts. And then I would challenge you really that you can amp it up to 2 or 3 posts a day.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can rotate. So you can do something that's health related, Plexus product related, or health testimony related, something health related, something value adding and personal, something related to the business of Plexus, and something that's just purely a call to comment that people just like cannot resist commenting on. Those are just kind of the short and sweet, like one-liner questions that Either they can solve a debate for you or answer some sort of opinion question, but gets people engaging on your page and then gets people seeing your other posts.
Okay.
So if you're shooting for 2 a day or shooting for 3 a day, try to mentally think, okay, I'm going to rotate through. I did a health post. Now I'm going to do something value adding and personal. Okay, now I'm going to do something call to comment. Okay, now I'm going to do something that builds belief in this business. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions about business posts. It doesn't have to be, look at what I earned, look what I bought with my paycheck. That's one thing it can be, but it can also be, oh my gosh, I was on this team call tonight. It was so uplifting, and like screenshot this team call. You know, anything about being involved with the business side of Plexus that is blessing you or making your life better in any way, that's something that's going to speak to someone. So I would challenge you to do that. Secondly, you said you waited to share until a couple of months later
Yeah.
after you started. So what flipped the switch?
Honestly, when I started seeing like little changes within my own health, I think is when it started to click with me. Yeah, and more of like, I felt like I needed to have a more of a personal testimony about the products before starting to share. And I think that's kind of what held me back at the beginning.
Yeah. And I hear that a lot. So who's your sponsor?
Megan.
Okay. So did Megan try to kind of nudge you along the way to start sharing or get any of that out there? Good.
Yeah.
Good. And so it's important for us to recognize that, because as we start to recruit new VIP customers, we don't want to believe, well, you know, just kind of organically realized it was time to start sharing. Well, actually, your sponsor was nudging you and encouraging you gently the whole way. And so all of us want to be doing the same thing for each person that we enroll. And when they have those little changes along the way, your job, you get to be the biggest cheerleader. So you first of all, make sure you're checking in, giving good customer care. And when they say, and it doesn't have to be long and involved. It might just be, hey, did you drink a Coke today? Because maybe they shared with you that they're trying to, you know, get rid of their sugar cravings. And if they say, no, I didn't drink a Coke today, then you just get to go fireworks. Cheer them on and say, oh my gosh, you should be shouting that from the rooftops. Do you know how many people are trying to kick a Coke habit? Like, that's expensive for one thing. So you saw those little changes along the way. Notice them with your people, highlight them, exaggerate them, cheer for them, and then prompt them to go share that with somebody. And maybe they're not ready to do a post and you say, well, hey, you could text it to your mom. Text it to your best friend, or maybe they are game to do a little party and you can go, well, hey, I'll help you do that. Whatever, if they're not comfortable with one, suggest another. If they're not comfortable with that yet, you go back to customer care. You go back to checking in, asking what's changed this week, how it's going. And then maybe a week later you say, have you shared that with anyone yet? So again, be a human, but, you know, continue to give those nudges like Megan did for you. I will also say this, I have a really phenomenal training video. As soon as we switch coachees, I'm going to pop it in the chat. It's 5 minutes. And it talks about why to start sharing before, like not waiting to have your own personal earth-shattering testimony before you share. So I hear that a lot. You said that was the case for you, but what you want as you begin to build your team is to have a culture where people share right away, and they don't necessarily need to wait 2, 3, 4 months. And it's fine if they do. Everyone's journey is in its own pace, but it's also really great when people start sharing right away because it's really authentic. Like if I have been silently struggling with all of these issues and I didn't tell anybody about it, and then 3 months go by and I show up on social media and say, hey, you didn't know this, but look at all the stuff I was struggling with. And now look at everything that's all better. I think it trips people's radar of like shady radar. Sometimes it does. Yeah. Versus these little tiny changes that you've seen. If you're just sharing the small wins consistently, like, oh my gosh, I was able to put these pants on today that I haven't worn since before I had my daughter. And that's it. That's all you do, but you're dripping that consistently out there. It's very powerful. So I'll share that video with you just because as you're getting people started, that's going to be something really powerful that you can go, hey, I totally, when I joined, wanted to just wait and see my testimony before sharing this with anybody. Well, and now I'm wishing that I had started so much sooner because of these reasons. And you can watch the video yourself and share those reasons, or you can just say, here, please watch this video for 5 minutes. Because I so wish I had started sharing earlier. So I'll give you that too.
Okay.
So you're working up the courage to do a live. Let's talk about your live. Can you hear me okay?
I
You're
think
kind of
my thing. Yes.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. So what's your thing?
I think my biggest struggle, I think, would be just knowing what to say, like what to put out there and, what to talk about. Just because I don't do a whole lot of public speaking, I'm not, like a put myself out there kind of person. So
Yeah.
I think that's what I would struggle with most. I would most definitely sit there and overthink everything that I'm saying. And I feel like that's my biggest hurdle to get over when doing a live.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
my own brain overthinking.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're not alone. Our own brains are the things that control everything we do or don't do. So we do everything from a thought. So to say, I'm not a put myself out there kind of person, that's a thought, but it doesn't have to necessarily be a fact. If you decide, I don't really like the results that thought is creating in my life. So up until this point, you have thought, I'm not a put myself out there kind of person. And you believe that to be a fact. And so as a result, you think, well, I don't have anything to talk about and I'm going to feel awkward and I don't want to do that. But sometimes when you step outside of a thought and you examine it and just like hold it in your hand, look at it a little bit and go, I'm not a put myself out there kind of person. And you can decide, okay, what's another thought that could also be true that I want to start focusing on? So I want to hear what pops to your mind, but my impression of you, this is the first time I'm meeting you, and I'm experiencing you to be a very warm, very easy to talk to person, with a really pretty smile, really pretty skin, side note. And I don't feel awkward looking at you on the screen at all. So that's just my experience as a stranger. Can you think of a thought that is also true that you might like to focus on instead of, I'm not a put myself out there kind of person?
Well, I think the fact that like I have already shared and gone outside of my comfort zone already in sharing Plexus and starting to share more on social media, I think that's something that just would give me momentum.
Yeah.
To go ahead and have just that little bit more courage to do live.
I have already gone outside of my comfort zone. I can find a little more courage. And it is baby steps. It's what's the next little thing? What's the next little brave thing that I can do and prove to myself that I won't die? You've already reached out, done some voice messages. I can find a little more courage. And side note, like when you do go live, it is 100% okay to trip over your words and be like, oh my gosh, guys, I feel so awkward doing this. I have not gotten on my social media in like 4 years. And now I'm posting more. And now I'm going, whoa, like who even am I? It's totally fine to do that. And it's disarming and people want to encourage you and they want to cheer you on and let you know that, hey, you're doing a good job. And when you're brave, you give other people courage to do something brave too. So my hat is off to you for that. I would urge you, like I would say, act with urgency. It's totally not too late to do a live tonight. You can totally screw up your first live. And then you can laugh at it in your memories every year. Like it doesn't have to be that great. But still, let's take us some time and we can talk about what you can say on social media, because this comes up in lives and your posts too. So what grabs you when you're looking at Instagram and Facebook?
I'm in a few like groups for moms, so a lot of posts about moms just like asking questions or advice for their kids.
Okay.
I'm in like homesteading groups, so
Mm,
anything that has to do with like gardening or canning. I like that sort of content.
sweet.
Um,
Okay, and you don't have to be an
I
expert.
was an athlete in college. I
Go
was an
ahead.
athlete in college, so occasionally like sports will pop up. So I like watching that.
Okay, that's a great start. So, mom stuff, homesteading stuff, and sports. You do not have to be an expert in these topics to add value to someone else. As long as you know 10% more than they do, you can teach them something. So you can start by saying, what are the top few questions I see moms asking about in moms groups? And you can start with that. You can just be like, hey, I'm going to make a live video this week, giving my answer to that question. Homesteading. Oh my gosh, there's a world of interesting things you can post about, go live about related to homesteading. And I think the biggest mistake we make is that we think, okay, when I do my first post, it has to be this 3-month testimony. Or when I do a live video, it has to be this master class. It can literally be like, oh my gosh, this is my sourdough starter on the first day, and it can be so small and so simple. So yeah, little action challenge for you would be come up with some either a post or a live concept that has to do with like maybe the top couple of questions you see moms asking in your moms groups, something related to homesteading. And I'm not sure how you might do a value adding sports post. Do you have kids?
I do. They're
Okay.
young. They're both 3 and under.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll keep thinking on that. If anyone in the comments have an idea of a live that she could do on any of these areas of interest? Oh, Bonnie gave some advice. She said she always does jumping jacks before going live. Haha, but it helps. Thank you for saying that. Tip to everybody, bring the energy. When you are posting and when you're recording, we naturally kind of dull our energy because we're nervous, but you actually need to amp your energy up to like 11, just because when people are watching, that's what grabs people and that's what makes them go, oh my gosh, clearly I want what she's having. So even if it feels unnatural, even if you're an introvert, try to think whatever it is that makes you, dial it up to 11. This doesn't mean you have to be crazy or weird, but whatever it is that's essentially you want that to be extra, extra, extra intense.
Okay.
So Bonnie is a soft-spoken, calm, sweet person. And so she does jumping jacks to help punch it up a little bit.
Carissa, I think that everyone should have that homework. The homework that you're giving Margaret. The action step is to post and live. Can you reiterate that for everybody?
Yeah, I was going to say, so I challenged Margaret to increase her posting to 2 or 3 times a day since she's been consistently doing 1, and to rotate between something health related, either Plexus products or health testimony related, something value adding and personal, and I'll go into that, what we just said, something that's a call to comment that just compels people to engage or answer your question, and then something that's related to this business, the blessings of this business. And when it comes to your personal value adding stuff, come up with like 3 things that grab you when you're on social media, what you like to consume, what stops your scroll, and formulate some posts or lives from that solve a problem for someone. So instead of me just saying, aren't my kids so cute when we go Christmas shopping? I'm saying, how do I cultivate thankful hearts at Christmas time with my kids? And I'm giving tips for how they save up their money to buy each other presents and all that. So Margaret's going to do some of the common stuff that she hears moms asking questions about in her moms groups, something simple that has to do with homesteading. And then I couldn't come up with an idea for sports. But does that clear it up?
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, fab. And since Margaret already said that, so I already know that she is doing a winning day checklist. We kind of focused in on her social media a little bit here, but for everyone on the call, I highly recommend that you work through the little winning day checklist each day because it's like a recipe. Recipes have amounts, recipes have order. And so you start with engagement and adding new friends. Then you go with go to content creation, putting stuff out there. Then you go to reaching out, having conversations, and then you advance on to caring for your customers. And it just unfolds in a very logical, very effective order. And the beautiful thing about recipes is you can cut them in half, you can double them, you can adjust for the amount of outcome that you want to have, depending on what you're able to put into it each day. But what you don't do is you don't toss out ingredients. You don't go, well, I don't like cocoa powder, so we're going to leave that out of these brownies because they're not going to be brownies then. So you stick with the same order and you stick with the same ingredients and you adjust the total quantity, if that makes sense. So I'm going to share with everyone the memory jogger, helping come up with more names. There's probably a ton of people you've forgotten about that would be blessed by Plexus. And then we're going to make sure and give everybody the winning day checklist. And I'm going to pop a video in the comments here from my sister Mallory, sharing 5 minutes, basically just explaining to people why you should start sharing from day one and not wait. So I'll get that all in here for everybody. And then Megan is going to coach Abiela.
Okay, are you on? Turn it to gallery.
I am here.
I don't see you yet. Oh, there you are. Okay. Can you put your video on?
I can't. I don't know why my computer's not letting me, but it will let me talk. So sorry about that.
No worries. Okay. Well, tell us, do you have a tippy top question for me?
I wrote down a couple, and I think the one question I have is kind of just what I'm struggling with the most. Is I feel like I have gotten a lot of people interested in my DMs and in my messenger. But then when it comes to talking about prices and stuff, I seem to lose a lot of people. So that's just kind of what I'm struggling with. And I was hoping I could get some advice on maybe how to go about talking, because everybody always asks, okay, well, how much, And it's like, okay, well, what do you say after that to not lose them? If they're, penny pinching, or it's the holidays and they're just not really wanting to spend the money. That's my main question.
Okay, so can you do me a favor and walk me through? So pretend I see your post and I'm intrigued. So I message you and I say, hey, I just saw your post about your pink drink. Tell me a little bit about that. So what would you do next? Or what would you say next?
So usually I would ask them, what intrigued you about my post? What kind of got your attention usually? And then they'd usually answer well, I've been struggling with bloating and my gut health. And I think it's usually the gut health that gets people's attention. So then they will kind of explain to me that they feel really bloated throughout the day, or they're the heaviest they've ever been. And they're wanting to feel a little bit better about that, bloating and all of that. So then I kind of explain to them the products that we have and how they work and what they're best used for, if it pertains to what that person was inquiring to me about. So usually if it's the triplex, with the ProBio 5 and the Bio Cleanse and the balance, I kind of explain to them all of that stuff. And then that's usually when the question comes along, okay, well, how much is it? Because they usually say I want to say 80% of the time, the people that are wanting help with the gut health, they also want to lose weight. So then I also mentioned, the reset, that we have the reset and then the triplex combo. And that is a little bit more expensive than if they were to just get the triplex. So that's where I don't want to lose people on that. I don't know if that makes any sense. But yeah.
So it sounds like you're doing a really good job plugging them into information when they ask and getting their questions answered. At what point in the conversation do you talk about the pricing?
Usually I try not to bring it up until if they ask about it, because, well, not that I don't want to bring it up, but I want to like kind of make it sound really good with the deals. So I kind of wait until they ask, okay, how much? And then I'll usually, or even before they ask how much the price is, I kind of mention like, hey, if you get this, you'll get the balance free, or we're giving 10% off, to orders that are, over this much, or like when we were giving the free reset, I definitely mentioned that, if you get the triplex, you'll get the reset for free, and that will really, help kickstart. So that's kind of when it comes in. Yeah.
Okay. And so how many people have you helped get started so far?
So far I've signed up 5 people.
Okay. So what was your process with them? Was it different than what you're doing with everyone else?
No, it was about the same. I think those people that I signed up, I think they were just more like committed to feeling better, like they really, really wanted to. So they were like, okay, let's do it. Sign me up. None of them really had a big cart. I'd say I don't think I had anybody pay over like $230. I'm just guessing off my memory, but so yeah, I feel like it was all relatively the same. Like there was one lady who messaged me, and then within 10 minutes she wanted to sign up. Like she was just ready to do it. And she was really open-minded. And then yeah, so I feel like the people that I got signed up were pretty easy, but it just seems like I've had a lot more inquiries, but then they just, they will stop responding, or after they ask for the price and I give them the price, then they, I just don't hear from them again. And I'll follow up with them quite a few times, but I don't want to just completely blow up their DMs, if they're not open to it. So I kind of just leave it alone after 2 or 3 unopened messages, or messages that they have seen but not responded to.
Okay, got it. So I was just trying to get a picture. Can you guys hear me still? It says my internet's unstable. I was just trying to get a picture of, kind of what you're seeing, and if it's been different with the people that you've signed up. Okay, so really quick, I think most of us expect everybody to be as fast as the first 5 people that you signed. We want it to be easy every time and not have to say as many things or have as much follow up with people, right? We have to just manage our expectations.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of conversations. And some people are ripe for the picking, meaning they're in a health crisis or so fed up with how they feel, they're willing to try, right? Some people aren't quite to that stage. And so my encouragement would be to be patient with those people. For me personally, it took me 2 years, almost 2 years to say yes to Plexus. Okay. So you may have a future double diamond follow-up list. They just haven't said yes yet. Okay. Really quickly, a couple of thoughts that I had when you were talking is I would really, one thing I wrote down is lean into the pain points, lean into their pain points and ask questions. So those of you taking notes, a couple of things I say. So a lot of times I'll be like, someone expresses interest or I reach out to them and they're like, yeah, tell me more about it. So, I might do a quick little voice clip of like how it's helped me. And then I will pop, and everyone needs to have that Candida yeast graphic list of symptoms in their favorites. saved to their phone, like in their pictures, quick grab, handy. Okay, this is my super fast system of helping people get started. It is a system. Okay, you send the graphic. Hey, what symptoms do you resonate with? Okay, and they're probably going to be really generic and be like, bloat and weight loss. Like that's what they want to see change. Okay, well, you can't, or we can't just be okay with that answer. We need to get curious and ask more questions. So I ask, and you can write these down, every single time I ask more specific questions. How much weight do you want to lose? Do you deal with belly bloat, indigestion? Do you swing between constipation, diarrhea? And do you have seasonal allergies? Basically, if they say yes to any of those things, they need the triplex. Okay, you cannot go wrong recommending like triplex and reset, or triplex and a +1 product. Okay, I always get people started with triplex and at least one thing, if not like a triplex reset package. Okay, so leaning into their pain points, and asking good questions, funneling them, into telling you what they deal with specifically. And you can park there for a minute and be like, and empathize. I'm so sorry that you're dealing with that. That has to make life harder, that you're having to run to the bathroom, or that you can't poop for the whole week or whatever. Okay, so lean into the pain point. And then here is the next question I say. Okay, so write this down. I say, well, hey, would you be open to a product recommendation based on your current health issues, or based on your health goals, the things that you could spin it in a positive way. And ask them if they're okay with that. That might be a pivot in how you can have your conversation, so that they're actually giving you permission to do that. And this is something where the urgency piece is, I think, really advantageous to us. And it's how I have worked my business for a long time. And I try to reply back quickly. Not always, it doesn't always happen that way, but I feel like if I'm chatting back and forth with someone and then I drop the conversation because like for 4 hours because I have to go do something, that's different. You would get a different result than if we're like chatting back and forth, and I can basically have the conversation right there with them in text. Okay, so is this a little bit different than how you're doing it? Oops, did I lose her?
Yeah, I definitely could be asking like more. Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yep, now I can. I think there's
Let me know if you can hear me. I think I can't hear you. Okay, great. I think, yeah, I think I could be asking a little more personalized questions. I feel like maybe I'm jumping a little too quickly to asking them if they want a product recommendation or recommending them products. Maybe I can be a little more personable when talking to people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, be okay with it taking longer than 5 minutes, like the conversation, you know what I mean? I'm not saying you're not okay with it, but for everyone,
Yeah.
it's not always like a one and done. Like, oh yes, I'm interested. Okay, send me your link. Like, it doesn't typically happen that way. So get them talking. I would say draw a square or put a star by that. Get them talking. Another question I like to ask is, are you sensitive to caffeine? And are you on any meds? And are you currently on any supplements? Okay, those are also some other good questions to ask. And I feel like anytime you can end with a question, a lot of times they will reply back, even if you whatever, stop talking for 4 hours, or you stop talking for 4 days. The ball is always in our court to pop it back. And sometimes you can even send a little follow-up like, hey, did those messages come through? Just pop it back. It's okay. The ball is always in our court. And remember this, write this down. Follow-up is professional. It's actually very professional of us to follow up with people. It shows that we love and care about their future success, that we're following back up. I remember my friend Carrie was the follow-up queen with me. I had just had baby number 5, so I was really interested in Plexus, but I just was sidetracked. I was busy. I would click open her messages or forget to reply, and she just always popped back and be like, hey, what other questions do you have? Okay, that's another thing you can write down. What other questions do you have for me? Okay, because there may be some other questions that popped up, right? I'm going to recommend a book, and it's by Phil Jones. and it's called Exactly What to Say. And I may be totally misinterpreting this, but I kind of have the feeling that maybe you're saying too much. Or maybe not too much, but maybe you need to get them talking more. Maybe that's the best,
Okay.
where there's more of a back and forth. And
Okay.
so try that in your conversations this week. And that's the cool thing is like we're doing
Okay.
a little session, and then y'all can go practice what you have heard from this call. Like, okay, let me see if I can pivot a little bit of in my interactions and how I can ask questions a little bit differently or lean into their pain points more. And let's see if I can get a different outcome. And I wouldn't just put all your eggs in those 5 conversations either of the people that haven't responded back. Can we just normalize the fact that there's we get ghosted a lot, and it's okay. It doesn't mean anything. They're just busy. They get distracted when they click our messages open, whatever. So I have a ton of people that ghost me, and I feel like I'm pretty good at talking to people. I've had a lot of practice, but I'm still learning. But people still ghost me. So you can have the perfect messaging, the perfect things to say, like all the things, and people still, will forget to reply back. Or like my friend Wendy says, and this is a good thought that you can practice, they're still thinking about it. They're still thinking about it. Instead of making up a story in our mind about why they didn't reply and how whatever our brain wants to offer us, remembering the thought or considering the option that they may still just be thinking about it, And
Yeah.
this actually leads into, so Hannah actually is on. She was just in a really loud, busy kitchen, and she has a new phone, so she wasn't able to unmute right when we asked her to pop on. But she said that similarly, she's getting a lot of feedback from her posts, but she's not closing those people. So I think it's the same question that we're getting. And so when we're closing people, it's basically like having enough of a conversation back and forth to help them see the value in what we have, and also for them to be fed up enough with their own pain points. And sometimes it means we have to hold the mirror for them to realize, like, yeah, it actually really does stink that I have horrible periods and I'm bedridden for 3 days and I don't have energy. I feel like I say no more than yes as a mom or whatever. You know what I mean? So like helping them recognize their own pain points. And is that helpful?
Yeah, totally. And it's so funny too, because now I'm thinking back to like all my messages and I'm like, all the longest messages are always on, like, how Messenger, your messages are purple. So I'm just picturing all my long purple messages and then they're like very short responses. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to like let them talk more. And kind of get them more engaged in talking about themselves instead of me just trying to sell, what we have. So no, that was really helpful.
Mm-hmm. And get good at being short and concise. And that's something that I feel like I've gotten better at. Because I think all of us have a tendency to kind of throw out plexus on people or to over talk. And I think that sometimes, a good, babbly little message has its place for sure. But I also think that it actually causes us to up level if we can actually say it in a shorter, more concise way. Okay. So I love practicing quick little pops. Like, I'm just thinking of some people, like the ball's always in our court, and that goes for the people already on our team. So you could pop in and be like, hey, how did your pink drink go today? I mean, your follow-up can literally be like a hey, and then 5 words. Super short. It could also be a hey, if I send you what to say, would you make a post today? Like just something simple like that, and see what they say. Or you can pop back in. Here's another one of my favorites, my favorite follow-ups. If I have basically done all the things with the person, right? Talked about their pain points, leaned into them, empathized, and we have a back and forth, and then we just kind of drop the conversation, either them or me or both of us, right? I love to pop back in those messages and say, hey, I'm actually helping people get orders in today. Can I help you get yours in? Or, hey, are you game? Or, hey, are you ready? Okay, obviously you can't, that's weird if you send that to somebody you haven't really had a conversation with, but for those that are like legit, they just need to say that and decide, you can pop back in and say something simple like that. I do want to add My system
Okay.
after we talk about their pain points. Okay, so what do you do then, right? So if they reply back after you say, hey, well, based on your health goals or based on your health symptoms, would you be okay with me sending a product recommendation over? At that point, this is where it gets really important. Offer to get on the phone with them. Does that concept or that scare you or make you uncomfortable to offer that?
I'm sorry, you cut out that last question. I only heard half of what you said.
Oh, okay. So at the point when they're ready for you to give them a product recommendation, have you ever offered to pop on the phone with them?
Actually, let me think. I don't think so. I don't think I have.
Okay. So there's assignment number whatever this is, 3 for this week is try it.
Okay.
Business is all about pivoting and trying things and experimenting. I mean, if it falls flat, what are you out? We're not out anything, right? But that, and especially if that feels uncomfortable to you, I would say definitely offer it, definitely do it. I feel like if I can get on the phone with people at that point, or any point even before, sometimes it's just easier for me to have a conversation on the phone with them than this whole long texty thing back and forth, right? Sometimes I'll just say, hey, I have a couple minutes. Are you free? Can I just
Yeah.
really quick? And so then we can do this over the phone. That is so much easier because you have the back and forth of like, hey, you ask a question, they reply, and it's a faster process. So at that point, my assignment for you is to actually pop on the phone with them. Ask them if they're game, if they have a couple minutes, because usually
Okay.
like 99% of the time, if I'm on the phone with them, I can close them. we'll just be talking about the pain points and talking about all the things, and I'll share a
Okay.
little bit of how the products have helped me. And then like when I feel like it's to the point of like I've made the product recommendation, and then I'll say, hey, I'm actually right here at my computer. I can just pop this in for you really quick. Are you okay with that? And then 99.9% of the time they're like, sure, that's fine. And then I usually just take their information, write it on a quick piece of paper,
Okay.
and then after we hop off the phone, I will pop it on. But I will end the call and ask them by saying, hey, do you have any other questions for me? So it's kind of like the Phil Jones books, knowing what to say and knowing what questions to ask. Sometimes it's just ideas of what to say, right? So then we can go practice that with the new people we're talking to this week. But going back to the tech.
Okay.
So if I am not able to get on the phone with them and they say, yes, I'm totally fine with you making a product recommendation, then I will say, okay, here's option 1. And I'll give them the Rolls Royce package. Okay. Here is Triplex and Reset. And hey, I mean, you're not on a good probiotic, or you're not on an omega and a good multivitamin. So here's X Factor, here's Mega X. Or if they want weight loss, I'll just, plug the balance, make a mention of the block or whatever, right? So big option 1, and then I'll have a picture, okay, so they can like visually see it and like a little breakdown of like each product or whatever. And then I'll send option 2, and I'm like, okay, and this is your bare bones package. If you just need to keep it super duper simple, here's the Triplex. And then I'll just maybe put a quick little voice message. Okay, which one looks better to you? Which one do you want to roll with? And then we wait for what they say. So is that helpful for me to just kind of chat through my process?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it kind of gives me more of like an outline or more of a structure, kind of overall. Because I'm so new, I feel like I'm still kind of learning like how everything works at the same time as learning about the products and stuff. So yeah, this is like super helpful. I have everything written down, everything you're saying. So I have something to look back on if I get stuck.
Mm-hmm. And anytime any of you feel stuck in a conversation, literally screenshot it and send it to your sponsor, and they will help talk you through it and know what to say next. Also, that might be an opportunity for you to pop your sponsor into a 3-way message with that person. 3-way messages are magical. I don't know why, and you don't even have to be someone that doesn't know how to talk to someone to benefit from a three-way conversation. Because when there is a third person in that conversation, it's almost like that third party gives validity to anything that you've said already, you know? And so then when there's two people chiming in, there's like two little cheerleaders. So
Yeah.
we can get started, you know? I did want to plug
Yeah.
a mention, because Hannah had the same question as you basically, and then just said, you know, also at what point do we send them testimonials or plug them into things? And so here is where you can have a next step for all these stuck conversations that you have going. This is where those little testimonies come in. Okay. So based on what they've told you, scroll back and read about what they told you about. Go search for a testimonial that would resonate with them and copy paste it, send it into the messenger, and then send a little voice clip that says, you know, hey, Annie, I just saw this and thought of you, or hey, I was totally thinking about the health goals that you sent me, and I thought you would resonate with so-and-so's testimony. Okay. You could also add and tag them in the Real People, Real Stories. If you think of a video testimony will be better. You can search at the top of Facebook and it'll basically pull up any testimony that's ever been posted with any group that you're in or any person that's posted at that particular testimony. So you could type in Megan Goff plexus pregnancy and send your friend something about, you know, my health results in my last pregnancy. Or you could type in Carissa Casey, I don't even know, whatever health issue that you know maybe that Carissa struggled with in the past. And then you could send that to her. And you can also type in just plexus and then the symptom. And you'll be amazed at all the testimonies that pop up that you can just do a quick, like it literally takes you 3 seconds. Quick pop, copy, paste, send it to the person and be like, hey, we're thinking of you, you know, with this testimony. And
Hey,
then,
Meg,
yeah,
can I chime in too? Okay.
please.
Abby, do you go by Abby? I've heard people call you that. Also, I know you took a lot of notes, but we recommend that everyone who is coached rewatch your coaching session because you will pick out little nuggets that maybe you missed while you were in that conversation. So highly recommend that. And then for Hannah and Abiela, this whole idea of like, I'm getting engagement on my posts, but I'm not necessarily closing people. This is something Megan and I tell people often is sometimes we fall into hovering over one little tomato plant instead of planting a whole row. So if you have some conversations that have gone silent and you've tried popping a testimony in there, or, hey, did you see the messages above? And you're kind of just feel like you're hovering over a few little tomato plants right now, then we get out there and we go plant more. And we do that by posting, doing a live, having a party, and doing some new reach outs. And that's how we plant more seeds. And so what ends up happening is we're just always in a little cycle where some people we're planting seeds with, some people we're watering with, some people we're harvesting with, and we've always kind of got that little cycle moving. Another analogy is there's like 12 chairs in a row and people kind of have to move through the 12 chairs before they're to the point of being ready to order or join. You've got your few unicorns who are like, I'm ready, sign me up. And I'm ready to sell. Like I've had a few like that, but in general, most people have 12 to 15 touch points. This is statistics. 12 to 15 touch points with you before they're ready to order or join. So imagine this row of 12 chairs and imagine that every little touch point is moving them to the next seat in that row, and just remind yourself that like you're at a different point in the row with everybody. And if you ever feel like you're starting to just hover over a few little tomato plants, you get to go, ooh, okay, what other seeds do I need to go out and plant? And you just go right back to that PLP, post live party, to start to get some new seeds planted.
And I think that being okay with the 12 chairs, like Carissa was saying, some people are ready after they move into the first or second chair. And so then sometimes when we have a few people like that back to back, and then other people take 12 to 15 touch points, we're like, what are we doing wrong? We're not doing anything wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just part of how this works. It takes a lot of conversations, a lot of love, a lot of serving from you as a person to pour in and invest in people, right? So that's okay, and be okay with that. I was also going to mention, because Allie is new also, and she had a similar question. She said, how do I reach out to people without feeling slimy? And so I think this is a good segue also, because Are you laughing, Abiella? Who just laughed?
Yes, that was a funny question.
Have you ever felt that way?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
Totally. I'm like, yeah, that's such a funny. I relate.
Okay. What causes you to feel slimy about it? And Abby, or sorry, Allie, you can chime in too here. And I'm not sure if Allie's still on. Or anyone else in the comments.
I mean, slimy is kind of a funny way to put it. But yeah, I almost feel like not like I'm creeping up on my friends and stuff where I don't want to ambush them, with selling products because like I'm sure we all can relate. Like when Tracy messaged me about Plexus too, I was like, oh man, what am I about to get myself into? Um, but I've like now that I've been in the community and stuff, I can see how like different it is from I think I don't know what else to call it. I guess a community or programs, but yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just kind of like you kind of go to message people and you don't want them to think that you're just trying to trap them into your scheme of selling things. I actually do want to help. So I think it's just maybe my own personal insecurities, of and I guess that fear of rejection or them kind of judging what I'm doing. But I'm kind of pushing past that. And I feel like with the help of my sponsor, Tracy, she's really, really encouraging and great. I've been able to kind of like ignore those voices in my head. So I guess that's where the slimy feeling comes in. I think it's our own personal feeling. So that's kind of why I laugh because I just like totally relate to feeling that way. But I know that it's just, it's all in our head. Like it's that voice in our head telling us that we can't do something, but we can. So yeah, I'm just kind of babbling, but
Mhm. Well, and I think talking it out can really disempower the thought that may or may not even be true. And like Carissa was saying, we can take the thought and decide whether it's true or not. Like, are you actually that way? I would say no, you're not. When you think about it, and you go back to what you actually believe about why you're doing this and what your vision is for sharing with others, it would be to be helpful in serving people. And so I think it speaks to belief. Like when you write down on a piece of paper or just tell somebody like why you're doing what you're doing, people can't argue with that reason, and I think it speaks back to belief also. Like I never ever thought my sponsor was weird for reaching out or helping me and get my questions answered. Like I never thought that of her at all. And so it would have floored me to think that she was afraid of me thinking that. You know what I mean? So it's almost like we're making these stories up in our head that aren't even true.
yeah.
So I think if you struggle with that thought of will people think I'm slimy or for mentioning something or for reaching out, you need to reevaluate that, because why would that even be in someone's mind? And I think you hit the nail on the head, Abby, when you mentioned it's probably just showcasing our own insecurities.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so to throw a loop around all of this for you, I think it will be helpful to listen back through, but most importantly, I think you getting practice in this week in conversations, and now that you're more mindful of the direction and the outline you're following, I think you'll find it smooth, and also expanding the conversations that you're having, not hyper focusing on the 1 or 5 tomato plants, but actually just go plant more seeds. And people are going to be ready at different times, and that's totally fine. And one thing that Becky mentioned in the comments was that most of the people that join me won't talk on the phone, and I almost lose them when I ask. They would just want to message. I think, and then Rachel said something about reading people a little bit before offering phone conversations. I think you can totally read people and go with your intuition. If you're humming along in a conversation online, that's totally fine. If you feel like it would just make sense to pop on the phone with them real quick, my thing, I guess, that I thought of is you're not going to lose people that are interested, whether you are messaging online or whether you're offering a phone call. And so the people, we're looking for the people that are looking for us. And so your mode of communicating with them is kind of neither here nor there. I'm just suggesting that when I get on the phone with people, I can close them usually on that within that conversation. So sometimes it's time, to offer that. And then, so all of you that are listening, my encouragement is to practice in conversations this week, ask more clarifying questions, leaning into their pain points and getting curious, and get them talking. Yeah, exactly. Get them talking. And then I would also encourage you, if you are struggling with like, a little thought in your mind, get it down on paper and evaluate whether it's true or not of you, or whether that thought that you're worried about someone else thinking about you is even valid. And then I would get on paper your why, like your reason for doing this, because that is like your plumb line. Because people can't argue with your reason, just like they can't argue with your testimony. So I want to encourage you with that. So Abby, do you have any other last questions?
I don't hear any.
I think there must be a delay.
No, I think that covers it. What I was looking to gain tonight.
Sweet. Okay. Carissa, do you have anything before we close out?
Not at all. We're good. We did extra long tonight.
All right. Everybody is so proud of you. Excited for all the fruit that will come as you guys.
Happy December.
Yes, exactly. All right. We'll talk to you all soon.
Bye.